Brian.
Brian. Oh, okay.
Bruce is
Normal.
actually my dad's name.
Is
That's
it?
really weird. That's really weird, right?
Okay.
Maybe she's not my dad.
No. It's my dad's name too.
Really? Wow.
Your dad's name is Bruce?
Yeah.
There we go. My dad's name is John.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lot of Johns and a lot of Bruces in the world.
Too many.
Is that?
Too many. Just kidding.
Too many. There's too many of us.
We need some new names.
You gotta,
There.
there are, yeah, it seems like there is an era of new names.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2000s bringing new names.
Yeah.
For good or bad.
Right. I can press it if you want, or did you just? Is it started now?
Now it's started.
It started. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just gonna wait for Christine. That was 2 years ago?
Roughly.
Wow. You must have made an impression on me. I definitely remember you.
I think I challenged you a lot.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Am I in trouble again tonight?
Nope.
I think I remember you too. Are you familiar? You're more familiar with Theravada, right? Is that right?
With what?
With Theravada Buddhism?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember you.
Right, now I remember.
Really?
Yeah. It's all coming back to me now.
Do you remember what you were talking about that night?
Oh. Remind me.
Karma.
Karma, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. That's a sticky subject.
Mm-hmm.
So many variations of so many opinions. So little time. Well, luckily we're not teaching philosophy here.
I know, we always get out on time.
Pardon?
We always get out on time.
Right, because there's no philosophy. Now you're gonna make me want to debate you now. Show. Well, so next Monday we won't have a class. Easter Monday. Just for one, I won't be here probably because it'll be with my dad. And well, everybody, family, right? I don't know when we'll be back, so it's better, safer. And plus it's a long weekend, right? So maybe Joyce, you could do what you usually do with that.
Oh, we get Brian's view?
Pardon? Yeah, right. So, are you on an email list yet, Brian?
No, but I'll get on it.
Yeah. Joyce is our commander-in-chief of those operations. So there's a movie that I saw recently that I don't know how new it is, but it's called Risen. Anybody seen it? Called Risen? You know, I don't know what your opinions are, or anyone's opinions are in the room about Jesus. You know, about what he may or may not have been. Talking about Jesus in a movie called Risen.
Okay.
I've always thought of that being as, some kind of totally enlightened being. I have a hard time with any kind of story that he just didn't become that, or didn't awaken to that in his life. You can easily, talk karma about it, and sure, he had seeds from other lives, and he popped in this, in that life, or whoever, but whoever he was and whatever he did, he affected a lot of people. And I also think he's one of those figures in history that many people after he was around, like some of the things that he said, some of the people after he was gone didn't really understand. You know, and then so all these groups got formed and they fought with each other, you know, and ended up, you know, they kill each other over these things. But the movie Risen was a very cool perspective because it was about this Roman soldier whose job it was to try, or his job it was, he was appointed to find the body of Jesus. He was supposed to go and make sure that he, A, did die on the cross, and B, that he didn't rise from the dead. That he could, so that they could prove to everyone that this you know, this guy's not for real. He just died. He's a normal person. So he goes to the crucifixion and he gives the order for the spirit to go into Jesus' side. And then the Pharisees come to the Romans, who were the Pharisees were they kind of had the monopoly on religion at that time, and they wanted things to remain the same. And so did the Romans. The Romans wanted order. The Pharisees wanted order. So the Pharisees begged the Romans to go and guard the tomb. You know, so they sends 2 guards to guard the tomb and seal the tomb, so that we can be sure that he doesn't get taken out of there. So they depicted in the movie anyways with ropes, lots of ropes and the wax seal, and there's all these Roman official seals, melted wax over the knots and all over the place. And the 2 guards are supposed to stay there for at least 3 days, because he's supposed to, the prophecy is he'll rise in 3 days. So time goes by, and what ends up happening is something happens that night that nobody really knows. But the Roman who was Tribune, his name was Tribune. They called him Tribune. So Tribune was in charge of these 2 guys, and the Romans start getting told by these bandits came in the night. They say bandits came in the night, cut the ropes, and took the body and held us at spear point. And so when, according to the history, the Pharisees paid the guards a whole bunch of money to say what happened, to say that they were accosted by bandits. And when the Tribune went and investigated the tomb, he found the Shroud of Turin, was the cloth that was on Jesus, and he also noticed that the ropes hadn't been cut; they just were just sprayed like they'd exploded, and the wax was melted. So he knew something was going on, and then he finally confronts the one guard. He finds the one guard who was just completely drunk, and just buying lots of grog, whatever they'd drunk. And you know, it's like, well, how is it on a woman's soldier's salary that you can afford all this stuff? And makes some kind of excuse, and then he starts badgering him and saying, "Tell me the story." And I said, "Oh, the bandits came and they sliced the ropes," and he already knew the ropes hadn't been sliced. So he pushes him, and finally, the guy just sort of breaks down and says, "Well, it was in the middle of the night, and then there was this huge explosion. Like the earth shook, and we looked over towards the tomb, and the ropes just exploded, and the rock." He didn't say how the rock disappeared. They just say the exploded, and all of a sudden there was a blinding light. I couldn't even look at it. It was like the very sun itself was inside the cave. And there he was. There he was. And we were just blinded looking at this figure that was there. And he said, so we just started running. And we just ran, and we ran as fast as we could until we could think again. And the reason why I'm even telling this story was because out of that whole movie, like that little sentence, we ran until we could think again, just meant a lot to me, because it was like, if you think of, you know, guru devotion or student-teacher devotion, or there's two ways you can think about it. If you get still enough with your mind, and you keep turning inward, and are able to draw your energies within, so much so that you have like a pranic explosion, or like a, you know, it's a Kundalini experience, a pranic explosion, a union with God. You know, there's so many ways that you could say it, but an event happens that in that moment is entirely out of your hands. You know, there is no controller. Well, there never really is a controller. We think there is, but in that moment, you know, like John is not there, and John can't do anything about it. This thing is happening, and in that time, there's no thinking. There's no thought process. There is only, well, I've been saying now. There's only now, and you can have that, but you can also have that experience if you're lucky enough and you have enough devotion with a teacher, some kind of teacher that you see as a holy being, can affect your prana, you know, can affect the energy inside of you, and take you to a place of non-conceptuality in a way. Take you where you're like frozen in non-thought, like often if a teacher has that ability, they whenever they can, they're going to try to jog your mind, or try to trip your mind up so that your normal thoughts stop. So your logical mind just kind of can no longer rationalize what's going on, and it just kind of freezes or stops or disappears. And you can be taken over by like a blinding light, and you can feel like you're in the presence of a light, and that you're surrounded by blinding light, and in that time, there's no thinking. And sometimes the enlightened being, or the guru, or the lama, depending on how you see this person, the thinking mind and the ego mind that wants to hang on is afraid of the teacher, or the being, or that level of consciousness. It's afraid of it, because that level of consciousness is the small level of consciousness undoing. And so they're typically in a student-lama relationship, typically there's often periods of resistance. You just go through resistance, and you go through, depending on your propensity and your capacity, you go through like immense devotion, you know, and often maybe followed by intense revulsion, and then devotion, revulsion, and because everything that we perceive in our reality You know, there's nothing that we see in our reality that we're not giving it. We're giving it meaning. You know, and we know that's true because everyone will have a different experience of the same object. You know, every onlooker. And so even in some subtle way, it's different. And because of that, then we can say really that we're, in a way, always looking at ourselves. In a way. I mean, there are other beautiful beings out there. I mean, we exist together. And we exist for each other. And we exist for each other's betterment and for each other's heartbreak. You know, and for each other's growth but you know, it'd be pretty hard to find something that you could look at and say that it's not subjective. Is that how you say it? Like it's not, meaning is not being given to you by you. So really the teacher or the guru or the enlightened being is still just like a version of yourself. And why are we so reluctant to fall in to our highest state? You know, like this state of total love, a state of total surrender. Like the mini-me, the little John, just doesn't want that. Doesn't want that. Fights it. You know? And so that's why, you know, you may have heard before, you know, when you sit down to meditate, you know, you should be prepared to die. You should it's like a little death. And if you do have that ultimate experience through meditation, it is like dying. It is a death, and when you do return, it's a rebirth. You're born again. So there's all these cool similarities between philosophies where, you know, the born again Christian, because sometimes you'll hear them talk about, you know, the day that Jesus entered my heart, and a Buddhist might say the day that you know, my heart opened. Could be that, or the day that I saw emptiness directly, or the day that, you know, and there's all kind of levels of that. But in that day, I thought it was a great symbolism of how, in a flash of enlightenment, the mind that wants to hold on to its small reality will just run in terror. Run in terror. And so, as meditators, it's cool to think on those terms. Think on those terms like each day you sit down, you know, maybe you're one step closer. Maybe today I'll let it all go. Maybe today, you know, I'll get to just completely fall in. To the mystery. And what would total surrender even be like? Do you know? I mean, would you still have to brush your teeth? Would you still have to go to work? You know, I think so. You know, but maybe you would just feel like you were a part of something greater all the time, and maybe you would feel like you were a vessel, and that the small, like little John who wants for itself is way in the back. He's in the back seat, but also being used as a way to communicate. You know, because we need a part of ourselves to actually communicate with each other, with words anyway. So anyway, just to just to end the story, so that you kind of have that satisfaction. The Tribune, you know, he suspected this something was, and so then he went on a hunt to try and really find him, and he searched and searched and searched, and finally, you know, he heard a rumor that, you know, the disciples were meeting over there, and he burst into the room, and there was Jesus, you know. And he was like, he sees him, and he remembers him on the cross, dead, but he sees him there totally fresh, you know, and sitting with the disciples and eating and laughing and showing them his wounds. Check this out, and they're all poking his thing and poking his things, and then he just disappears. You know, so, and where did he go? And will he be back? And so then the Tribune follows the disciples and sees them one more time. Sees them one more time, and you know, and it's like you can take it all literally. You can take it for how it is for you. But there's a lot of messages in there, cool messages about, you know, I don't know, faith and allowing yourself to see something more than yourself. So in the very end, the Tribune is sort of telling the story to an innkeeper he finds, and he just like takes off his ring. He says, here's for my meal. I'm done. And he just walks away, and he just becomes a wanderer. And he's content. He finds his contentment. And what also I liked about that movie was that the depiction of Jesus in that movie was just this happy dude. Like he was just always laughing. He was like lots of joy. Like he was never somber. Always just loving and happy, and his disciples were always joking around, and like they were, it looked like they were able to laugh at their own shortcomings, you know, especially in the face of this being. Mm-hmm. You know, I think there's one time they're sitting around, and the Tribune says, "Why do you follow this guy?" And they look at him, and then suddenly there's a leper. Leper being like kicked around, and Jesus just sort of, he's smiling, and he just walks over there smiling, and just holds him, right? Holds the leper, and then the disciples say, "Well, just, you know, we see this all the time. Just he's gonna do it again." And they're all kind of like, you know. And then the leper stands up and walks away, and you see he turns around and he's whole again. He's got perfect hands and a perfect face, and they look at the Tribune and say, "That's what we follow." But again, you know, does that mean that if you become, you know, awake, and that you reach contentment and freedom, does that mean that you have to be able to, you know, make blind people see? It's interesting, you know, there's all these miracles that they talk about. I mean, is that what it means? It's so interesting. Like, maybe it's a miracle just to overcome ourselves, right? Just to overcome the mind that plagues us from day to day. Maybe that's a miracle in itself. Like why they call the Buddha the victor, right? The Buddha the conqueror, because he conquered his own mind. And there's not many people that I think can say that they've conquered their own mind. There's lots of people doing amazing, amazing things in the world. Really amazing things. Acts of compassion, miracle inventions, you know. Lots of amazing study. But who has conquered their ego? Slippery. Very, very tricky. And I don't believe there's any freedom that is not that. You know, when that total release of that self that operates on such subtle levels in so many small ways that even as you get closer and closer to total enlightenment or total freedom, even the most subtle thing, subtle grasping at wanting a me to be, is still a veil. Just is still a veil. But we can do it. We can overcome that, and reach that place of living in joy and love with others, with ourselves and others. And maybe it starts with ourselves, Sure, it's like, of course we must love each other. We must love one another as best we can. But if we haven't reached a place of self-acceptance and like knowing ourselves and being in this place of love and compassion with our own selves, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard to totally accept another person. Because what are they? In some way, they are reflecting our own inner turmoil. So it's and of course the ones that are closest to us often trigger us the most. Like moms and dads, husbands, wives, daughters, sons, sisters. Just kidding. Christine never does trigger me. Yeah, I always just feel like I'm never living up to Christine. Maybe one day I'll feel like I live up to Christine. I don't know what I have to do. Maybe somebody can tell me. So, and then so we can make this mistake, I think, of feeling like we have this freedom around people we don't know, right? Like, oh, I gotta get away from this person, or I gotta get out of my house or something, and then you go hang out with some people that don't know you. So I'm so free around these strangers. When all that's really happened is just that side of ourselves is just in the background for a while, so we feel free of it, and it's just waiting there until you come back home, and then it's just gonna put up in your face again. Oh, you again, and it is you again. So it's until we can explode that, then there'll always be a place, there will always be somewhere we go where we don't want to be. Or can't handle being, or are not comfortable in. Anyway, I think I've talked enough. We should probably meditate now. We can meditate on the fact that this came out of a tree. Right? That's what they say. I've never seen it. So let's do a meditation. Gotta get that star, man.
Gotta make that count.
That's awesome. had like 9 hours straight. I just I put it on Infinity and forgot to turn it off when I got home. Mm. So let's begin just getting ourselves settled, calming the energies down. Focusing on the body, focusing on the physical body. And let's say from the hips down, just and feeling the weight of the body resting on the ground or the chair, whatever represents earth right now. Just noticing the sensation. What does it feel like for the body to be connected to whatever surface it's supported by? The meeting point. And let's lengthen through the spine by inhaling. Nice deep, rich inhale. Draw the crown towards the sky. So you feel that lengthening of the spine and the lifting of the heart and the drawing back of the shoulders. And then the exhale that relaxes the body, but at the same time you're somewhat propped up by your posture. So you're propped up by the earth and by your posture, and as effortlessly as possible. So your shoulders are now relaxed and your jaw is relaxed. Placing the tip of your tongue right at the back of the top teeth where it meets the gums is a nice way to help relax the jaw. Let your forehead soften, especially the place between the eyebrows. Maybe you can imagine someone's smoothing it out, so it opens and smooths. And start to notice the body breathing. Nowhere in particular, just the entire experience. Of the expansion and contraction. How that feels in the body. And really watching for any kind of clinging or grasping to, wanting to change that breath at all. Just let the body settle to its own rhythm that it wants right now. Sometimes that can be profound just within itself. just recognize, oh, I'm trying to control this breath. And you could ask yourself, you know, what's that about? Why would I need that? Why would I want to do that? You may find some information there. So let's use a method today of using a specific sound to actually reach a still point. I'm going to start to make the crystal bowl sound. And as it begins to resonate, allow yourself to take it in. Being very observant, you know, feeling the sensation, all the sensations of the sound washing over you. And at some point I'll stop bringing it and use the end of the sound. So when you begin to really fine-tune your focus and try to really pinpoint the moment that the sound stops. And we'll use that as a doorway into stillness. Take it another level deeper. So now you're going from whatever still point that you may have felt in your mind or that you touched in with, try and relate to the sound or experience the sound from that place. And then this time, when the bowl stops ringing and you focus on the cessation or the end of the sound, I'll try and remind us. See if you can withdraw your attention right into the center of your heart, as if, as the sound subsides, you're being sucked into the silence that's in the center of your heart, and so you're going right to this point in the center of your heart chakra. Center of the heart. Back to stillness. Now imagine that, not so imagine, but however this would be for you, however this would feel or look to you, begin to draw, move closer to that still point in the center of your heart, as if your thinking mind, the journeying mind, the moving mind is moving, drawing itself closer in towards this space of silence, wanting to withdraw and enfold itself inside this space. So that as you get closer to it, it feels like it's growing in size. It begins to grow in size. the sense that the stillness there is also a fullness, an unmoving fullness. Go again, listening, feeling, experiencing again from this new place. And once again using the end of the sound to pull yourself even deeper in. Finally tuned into this quiet, still place. That is timeless, without borders, inside the heart. See if you can kind of experience that as with a luminous quality, a light-like quality. Let it expand and fill your body if it hasn't already. And then past your body, fill the room. And then so you may get the sense of experiencing two types of realities at the same time, sort of the awareness of that still place, but also the moving things, the body, the energetic body, the physical body, the mental body. And just relax. And allow reality to be as it is. Treat your thoughts as if they were like the bowl. Just another sound. Ringing. And that right now there's nothing to do. Nowhere to be. No one to be. And in this relaxed state, in your mind, see a holy being come towards you. And feel their presence and feel their light. And feel the union, the unification of their spacious wisdom and love completely unite with yours, because you are in this quiet resonance with them. So there's no resistance, there's just a welcoming. Any vestige of resistance is washed away by their love for you and your love for them. As it overpowers everything else. It's too much. And as you feel this embrace, you hear this enlightened being say to you, see, we are everywhere. And then you notice that if you, in your mind's eye, you look around and see other beings, that they all have that quality. And with no resistance, you can see it and feel it. It's a unified embrace. Each with their own unique way of expressing it. A great thing to do in this type of meditation, when you are entertaining these ideas and possibly living these ideas, and possibly it's beyond idea, whatever level you're at, notice anything that comes up in the mind that is uncomfortable or resistant around thinking that you're surrounded by completely radiant, holy, loving, enlightened beings, that everyone is. And what would that mean? What does that mean to us, ourselves? Can we have that? Can we accept that? And if we can't, then there may be something there for you that you can look at. And you may notice that the more you relax into it, it's not about holding the space. It's not about doing something. It's not about propping anything up. It's just, really, it's just this ultimate relax. Before we release the meditation, just in your mind, this feeling of gratitude for all the beings that surround us, and a feeling of respect, honoring what they're doing, whatever it may be, and that everybody wants contentment. Just recognize that. And that, if in this moment you may see them as enlightened, they may not see themselves as enlightened in this moment. But they will. And if you don't see yourself as enlightened in this moment, you will. And maybe they see you as enlightened. We don't really know. So just have that openness and that honoring and that respect and love for the holy beings. And relax into it. Feel your holy presence within yourself, within your body. Beautiful presence that is you. And then slowly opening your eyes, allowing the light to come in. Like the physical light to come in maybe, but slowly, gently. And we can have a little break. Stand up and have a snack maybe, or other snacks, or anything else. So maybe your body needs a break. You probably don't need a break. Why would you want a break from some inner silence? Maybe your body needs to move its legs. Somebody wants to go? You don't have to. straight right out of the bottle. You
My
ever done
daughter
it?
could.
Yeah?
I think I could too.
Yeah, you want some? You can pass it around. You know? Scared of getting, scared of germs?
I'm
What's
off
that?
of sugar.
You're off of sugar?
I'm off of sugar.
Okay, you want to have a little tiny sip. It's a gateway drug.
It's
Amazing.
It's holy.
Yeah. Alright.
It's
Isn't today like a moon day too?
Oh no.
I don't know.
Tomorrow's
It
a
is.
full moon. I
Tomorrow's a
think.
full moon. Okay, prepare thyself.
Oh no. So good.
It's insanely good.